Okay, today I've got some updates, and one of them is that I purchased last night some more vintage sports cards for autograph requests and set build, potential set fillers, I guess, for now. Not really set builds, but just to have some cards. And I picked out some 1964 Topps. What's interesting is that I was looking for a particular card, and people seemed to asking around $5 for it, and just not even a high number or anything. And I guess maybe all I could find was, higher grade examples for it. So yeah, I said, you know what, let me just go back to that one seller and just add an additional card to that particular person, J Hook. So I wanted a 1964 J Hook, and it was something like $1 free shipping. So I said, I don't care about corner damage. If I'm really worried about it, I'll just throw some white out in the corner. Yeah, I know it's retouching and stuff like that, but if I really wanted to, hopefully I can get that, in time for him to get it autographed. I've got J Hook on a 61 or 60 something or other. He's only got 3 or 4 cards from what I understand. I don't know. It's not a lot of cards, but there's a few other guys in there. I said, I really don't want to spend $5 on a card or 15 or 20 for an autograph. Sometimes the autograph's just insane what people are asking for. I've got a couple in my cart there I might pick out and purchase. I want to see how the weekend goes, card show wise, before I start buying a lot of stuff. But my final package has come in for Dean's cards. This is the only Dean's cards. I haven't bought from them in decades, but we'll just see how that goes. I just purchased some. If you didn't know about Dean's cards, they start off with around $5 for shipping, and I can't remember if there was no additional or it was just very minimal additional, but it worked out to where the cards that I was buying were so much cheaper to get through them. Versus, so you pay the initial $5, and there was so much more variety. There's a ton of Davy Crockett cards, which I might be interested in here. So they put it in 2 top loaders here and taped it all together. I had a little bit more confidence seeing Dean's cards, a relatively recent video on how they deal with inventory or something like that. I don't know. It's on their YouTube page or whatever. It was kind of interesting how they get all that together. They technically grade everything, so you kind of have an idea of so everybody's an expert on what you're trying to get here. Everybody also uses Scotch tape, except for Boomslang, who I got his cards the other day, and I finished off a set, and I'll try to show you that as well, too. There's just a lot to get into. I didn't check my camera how much time I have. There's these things, Dean's cards, Dangerous, Foe, Have Gun, Will Travel, and essentially they've given it a 1 pour listing there. So for whatever that's worth, I don't really care as long as they display well. Sometimes just being off-centered big time is a huge, but again, I could have gone to this other vendor, which his cards came in, and I picked out the best ones. Again, some of these are listed as poor, but what do I see poor about it? I have no concerns about that one. A little bit of rubbing up here, and that might come off with just a little bit of, in fact, just get out my, wax pack rubbing tool here, and sometimes that doesn't do it for that one, but sometimes they're just wax, stains on there that will come out. But that's Tales of Wells Fargo. And this is card number 63, and I'll try to get them in my binder here. They're super out of order here, and again, the penny sleeves cannot be reused if you don't. I'm going to take these out of here, but I just want to see. So you can't reuse the penny sleeves because they rip off of there. So I guess you could, but this one's Ready for a Job, the Californians. Again, the corners are, I wouldn't call that poor grade. That's really sharp card there, We're buying cards that have been stepped on by, 12 generations of people, and then we get these cards. Again, and I just took whatever was left or picked from whatever. They have tons of Westerns cards, so if you really want them, there's Track Down. These were essentially $1 a piece, and then the more expensive ones that I've chosen to pick out. So again, sometimes, the designation between poor and a card that's like $10 is very little. Here is a Union Pacific, and again, most of these are crease-free. Jeff Morrow in Union Pacific, that is card number 41. We have Yancey Derringer, Yancey, the Gambler. I thought I had that one, but I had to, it's just so confusing, even when you're building a small set here. Now, again, this one was not in particularly good condition, and I'll show you this one here. This one's got, well, I say good condition, but there's a little bend here, bend here. This is what I normally would expect. Smashed corners, wrinkles, kind of a stain there. This is Ward Bond in Wagon Train. But, he's more of a, I guess, a more famous actor. I don't really know. Anyway, so there's that one there. That's what I had expected there. And maybe, these grade poor because they're kind of a yellow toned, or, they don't stay 100% perfect white. There is the Californians. Again, I think I finished off the Californians. The Californians. And then we have Tales of Wells Fargo. Got that one there. Restless Gun. There was tons of Restless Gun ones. I sometimes you pick, there's a great one with registration or better borders or whatever. No idea. It's just impossible to get these borders just centered perfectly. Here's another one that I picked out because, again, it's probably listed in poor condition, but man, it just looks like the back of it just looks like it was pulled from a pack yesterday, and it may have been. But you see, this is Steve McQueen right there looking downward there, and you can see that's the top of the next card there. So this one says, if I can read it here because it's kind of chopped off here, this one says Jack Picard or something like that. I can't read that one, so... yeah, that's what I think that says there. And this is difficult task. And again, it was listed in poor condition, but again, it's only because Topps slipped up in the factory there, and it has no bearing on anything else. And it gives me a good card and an interesting one to talk about here. Have Gun Will Travel. This one is a little stuff on there, but not much. And these are just super good condition. I mean, if G's Mikey would be getting these, he'd be like really impressed with the quality of some of these here. And again, I spent 20 bucks on this whole stack. That was including the shipping, I think. And then we've got a Gunsmoke here. There were not very many Gunsmokes that were available because that's one of the top shows. Here's Wanted Dead or Alive. This is slightly more expensive. And again, way off center there, but again, another Steve McQueen. I think I'm down to 2 more Steve McQueen cards. And then another Have Gun Will Travel here. So let's get those put in the binder as fast as we can here. Let's look at my timer. We're only at 7.5 minutes there. So now I'm going to hopefully get all these put in here, and I'll show you very, very quickly. So we'll just flip them over here. They are unfortunately in not very good order. 27, 20, and I've got them all marked. So these playing cards mark where they need to go. So that should help quite a bit there. That one goes in there. 63. And of course I didn't write the numbers on there. And there is 63. Actually, I didn't have a playing card set for 63, so maybe I messed up there. 71 and 70. 71, if you didn't know, is the last card there. So I make a point of it because the last cards are very underrated. I've got one that was not the last, or I didn't get one that was the last card. And then I said, you know what, that's kind of interesting because a rubber band got glued to it. So that's the, the back card. And I thought that might be fun to get that one sometime with the rubber band rip on here. 41 goes in here, and then I'll show you my progress. 41. I'm just not going fast enough. It's going to take me 12 minutes to do all this. I guess I could pause the camera, but why? And then number 34. Goes right into here. Yeah, that's really nice to have this many cards here. I don't know if I'm quite halfway to a set yet, or maybe I'm more than that. It is just really cool to have this many cards here. And again, I could have gotten more from, Dean's cards, but I was just mainly doing a test. So, again, it's a loss of $5 if I get a lot more from them. But also, I wondered, that one might have a little wrinkle on it. The Californians had a wrinkle on it, but I'm not worried about it. We're almost done here. I need to get number 60. And this is going right in here. I almost have, I don't have quite a whole page here, but I'm getting darn near a whole page. I'm missing 2 cards from a page. The Restless Gun goes in this one here. I know I should be showing you this on camera, but another card bites the dust. Those will be repurposed, so I don't always like to write on every single one of them if I don't have to. I didn't have 24 marked off, with a playing card. That's weird. Number 28. That goes on the next page there. So I might actually have more than I think I do. Again, it was just from memory, and we need to get card number 8. So that's always nice to have a card on the first page. I have actually 2 cards on the first page, and the first page will be the last page done because that's all Gunsmoke. And like I said, they only had 1 Gunsmoke, but they had like probably 5 different copies of that one particular card, which is unusual. And we got the last one here, number 69. So we'll go off to the last page here. And so we have the last page here, which has got everything. It's got 6 cards on there, and just 3 more here. And again, we finished off the Californians. So the Californians is all finished off, so that's cool. And that's the Boots and Saddles. So somewhere between here and here is Wells Fargo and Boots and Saddles. So the Boots and Saddles would be a very easy one to finish off there. Then we almost have a complete page here, and this is all Tales of Wells Fargo, except for up here, Restless Gun. So all these here, if you can see them well enough, that's all Tales of Wells Fargo. It's not the Wells Fargo, just of Wells Fargo, if you ever cared or wanted. This particular page here is Restless Gun and Wagon Train. So yeah, Wagon Train is another big series there, so I don't know when Restless Gun and Wagon Train end. And there's that one there. This particular page is almost empty. I want to say because Yancey Derringer and Union Pacific, there were tons of examples of those for dirt cheap, and it was just too eye-popping to try to figure out which one was which. And so I said, you know what, let's just get the ones that what I call the goodie images. Then we've got Yancey Derringer, a couple of those right here that need to be filled in, and Have Gun Will Travel. One up here, hopefully you will be able to see that again with the shine here. Have Gun Will Travel, and there's a couple that are in there. And then we go on to the 20s here, and we're almost done with the page. See, so now I have 3 Steve McQueens right here, and we just need 2 more, and I think maybe Have Gun Will Travel that goes there. That's my guess there. And the most expensive card is somewhere floating around here. And then this page, for whatever reason, is 100% empty, and that's because that's Gunsmoke, and Gunsmoke has a ton of cards here. And the James Arness one from Gunsmoke on the top here, I think I might have, I don't know if they creased it or I accidentally creased it, but card number 1. So I said 43 missing of 71. That might actually not be correct anymore. I'm not exactly sure what I have there. So that's very good, amazing, good set start there. Then we have one more set binder to look at here really quickly here. And I have, oops, a postcard that got in there by mistake here. And this is my Dallas and Magnum PI binder here. You've seen that several times here, but I finished up Magnum PI. And the reason why I finished up Magnum PI, not because of Boom Slang sold me the last 4 cards, 3 or 4 cards I needed. It's because Magnum PI only has 1 puzzle back set, and you can easily get that. But you know, I got these cards decades ago and wanted to finish that off instead of building a set from just like buying one off of eBay. If that makes any sense there. The satisfaction of finishing off the set here. You know, I think there was a card off of this page here, and some of these are autographed. That one right there in the center, it's very, very hard to see, but John Hillerman autographed that when he was alive. So that was very cool of him to do that. I found that through some autograph guys that are no longer doing YouTube. They were very, very helpful. And we got 2 more John Hillerman, so I sent him 3 or 4 cards here. I tried to send him everything I have. And I didn't know if there was 2 TCs, but there's Roger E. Mosley. I got him like a year before he died. And so TC number 1. So again, all these guys signed in very thin pen, except for the guy who plays Rick. And I think I have another Mosley card signed here. I'm not 100% sure. Those are very expensive. Don't go to eBay. Yeah, Larry Minetti. So Larry Minetti signs in Sharpie there. So there's that one there. It's hard to see, but he signed in Sharpie there. And I think this is the one that I needed, the Magnum in the Ferrari there. I think that was one of them. Again, COMC was where I got a lot of my cards there, but during Black Friday, people were not putting their Magnum cards on sale, and they're asking $5 and $6. And then like 2 or 3 of the cards that I wanted were not even there. And again, I wanted to do it that way because people on eBay were just, you know, probably the younger crowd was like finding these, oh man, Magnum PI, that's gotta be fire, so they put $10 on each card. I believe this is another Larry Minetti card. That would have been a really nice one to have dual signed by him and John there, right there. I'm sure there's a few more autographs in here. And also there's some confusion in here because I ordered some cards and end up getting the exact same one. And it was my fault kind of, but it was the seller's fault for selling me the wrong numbers. because John Hillerman, who is feeding Zeus and Apollo right there, they used that image twice. Probably because they ran out of images or something happened. I don't know exactly what happened. And so, is there any more? And Magnum PI himself, people have gotten him TTM, but again, that's just, I'm not sure about that one. I really have no clue. And I think I had sent a couple cards off at one point, so those were cards that I had also lost. And then there's Roger Mosley right there, again, TC, and the helicopter signed on his shirt there. And again, unfortunately, I didn't have all the cards of those people that I needed when they were signing. Just a few more cards here. Let's see if I can get this one here. And this is the last page here. Because there are 66 cards in the set. So if you're building the set from scratch or have like 3/4 of the set, it's not cheap because they're usually a minimum of $1 a card. I don't remember exactly what I paid, $1.60 something per card, I guess, which was, within the range of acceptability, and there was, good shipping combined detail and all that stuff. So I said, this is the time to get them, and every card I needed was right there. And that Magnum and the Ferrari was the very last one the Boom Slang had in Boom's card warehouse, I think is what it's called. And of course Dallas will never be finished because too many variables. And again, that's another like 66 to 88 cards in the set. If we go back down here, yeah, probably 60, yes. Wow, that's 56 there. Yeah, something like 56 cards in the set. But unfortunately, again, they're dual-backed cards there. So, we've got Ellie, Barbara Bell Geddes, and there's two different backs right there for that card there. She has signed this one here way in the old days. People are asking over $100 for her autograph. It's just absolute madness. So I think I'll finish off with that, but I'm very happy. I got to clean up all this gross mess here, but very happy to get my set build of Magna PI all finished, and a good fraction of the Westerns cards. Now I can go back and look and see which ones I need and take my time and pick out some good examples like I just got there. And very, very happy with the Dean's cards. There was only 2 cards that were creased, but I don't worry about creases. I was just pleasantly surprised that the ones that I got are probably the ones I picked out. They have this nice system here so you know exactly which card you're getting there. So very, very happy with that. And I'm not saying that I'm a big fan of theirs, but, things are getting better. So hope everybody has a great weekend, and thank you for watching.